My name is Rhapsody, welcome back to Monster Train: The Last Divinity. We'll continue, have another run with Wormkin. No, let's jump across to Echo Right, and then we'll jump back to Wormkin. Oh, Echo Right, Wormkin, Echo Right, etc. Jump back and forth and back and forth. Let's jump into Commandant 25 with a random subclass as well. Now you might be thinking, Raps, why are you in the bottom left corner? Didn't you have to leave the bottom left corner last time? Because isn't that where the Ember and the Draw pile are? That is what you would think, wouldn't it be? We'll see what happens when we jump into a match. Double copies of Echo Snare in the base deck, a single copy of Forgotten Trade, 2 copies of Flash Freeze. Seraph the Diligent is going to be consuming our cards at the end. We've also got the exiled starter cards for the Stygian. So we've got Forgotten Powers in there. Alright, Echo Right, what do you want to be? What do you want to be? The Marsh Lord. Summon. On summon of the Marsh Lord, you summon a Bog Chrysalis. Now, this will actually be our first encounter with eggs, broadly. I wanted to do it in the last episode, but the wax happened instead. So, Shell Egg Unit. Okay. On Hatch, it summons 2 Bogflies. It is by base 0-1. However, Echo Right Summon also gives it another 20 health. And on Etch, Echo Right will remove 1 shell from eggs on their floor. At the end of turn, you remove candies from a floor to remove shell from the front unit with shell. When all shell is removed, the unit will hatch. We don't see the hatch keyword here either, unfortunately. So there's a Merchant of Steel directly next to a Stygian Banner. Wow, it's actually our 4th row that we get the first Divine Temple in. That's a right there. That's a big old Okay, what is my scaling plan? Maybe try and do etch triggers and incant triggers at the same time. So etch triggers when you consume a card on the floor. Incant triggers when you play a spell on the floor. If we get a lot of consuming spells, we can try and feed both at the same time. There's also the Shellsmith here. Etch to apply 4 armor to friendly units. So in the first area, we've got a Stygian Banner next to a Merchant of Steel. Second area, we've got a Herzl's Hoard next to a Wormkin Banner. And then if we whiff really hard and don't find 2 things we want to combine, and, you know, obviously unit drafts don't help, we've got another Stygian Banner later on, directly next to the Divine Temple. The problem is... I was about to say the problem is not having a Merchant of Steel. We've got the one at the very top. And we've got extra money going in there as well. And then we've also got the Herzl's Hoard and the Wormkin Banner here, as well as additional money again. So if the 2 units do suit me, and I've got an upgrade here, I can go over for the final upgrade over here, and then go to the Divine Temple. There's a Forgotten Boons, as well as a Herzl's Hoard, as well as a Merchant Trinkets in the same area. That's super value dense for us. We should try and save up a decent amount of money before we go there, and then that's going to be, what, 3, maybe 4 relics, depending on how we play? Because this will allow us to show off eggs, I'm going to take the Marsh Lord. And that is... yeah, that's the only reason I'm going to be taking it there. We already do have 3 consume cards in the deck as well. Vapor Funnel to apply daze to an enemy unit when they reach the Pyre room, as well as lower their HP. Lower the damage of the Pyre, as well as Decayed Decoy. So that's 1 more Reap on all of the Echo Snares, but we're not likely to take that many sources of Reap in this deck. The second form of the Marsh Lord summons an egg, which then hatches into a minion that does give you Reap, but the 3rd level doesn't give you Reap anymore. So this is, what, going to power spike in the middle of the game for me? I'm taking Vapor Funnel. Little bit of safety and security against enemies that we might just let go to the top. Even with 10 armor, the archers in the background will still die here. Ain't that neat? Ain't that super neat? Thank you, Rawsome, by the way, for designing this mod. This mod just frees up the bottom left corner, so there's some free real estate. for you to put a webcam, if that is a thing that you do. I need to set up on the top floor so I can try and get the hatch as quickly as possible. Or rather, before enemies are up here. Gives me more time to continue consuming and doing other things like that. There we go. Now it's only got 2 shells on it. I'll leave a link, by the way, to that mod in the description down below. It is just started. Or just came out, rather. Oh, no, this is fine. We do that, and then we do Echo Snare and Forgotten Power, both here on the top floor. Then we get the hatch. Nice. Now all I have to do is just try and get as many candies up here on the top floor for the sake of those Bogfly kin as we can. That'll do. Yeah, totally happy to lose the train steward. It was there effectively just to chump block. It's already fulfilled its usefulness. Do I want to battle on the bottom line? I guess I might have resummons later on. That should have gone against the Disciple Foot Soldier in the back of my neck. The frostbite that was. Nah, that's not what I wanted. Alright. Guess I hit the back line just in case. Nice. That's a pretty good floor right there. Pretty dang pleased with that. I don't mean to be mussing around with this. Whoa, that's blast from the past right there. Yeah, I don't mean to be mussing around with this too much, but I do want to just quickly change one part of the color correction here and add some brightness back in. There we go. Cool. Interesting. Unfortunately, Echo Infusion is extract 1. And we really don't want to be extracting super early on, but we do want more health scaling. You're never sad to have an Echo Infusion. Bogfly's essence is +5 to its health and +5 damage per essence. Unless I have a unit with a bunch of multi-strike, this isn't really an endgame scaling plan. Hosting Kin would just be a etch trigger, although it's an etch trigger that I don't want to target against my own minions. I'll take an Echo Infusion just because it's really, really good. Titan's Gratitude, eh? Sure, I'll take a Titan's Gratitude. Oh, no. Uh-oh. Oh, dear, oh, dear, oh, dearie me. Keeper of Echoes is infused by base, has Inspire. I wonder if it will trigger its own Inspire. But its Inspire is play +1/+1 to friendly units. There's also a Kinhost Carapace over here. When played, gain +10/+10 and +1 capacity per candy on the floor. And then Offering Monument in Cant, -5 to its HP, and draw 1. Ooh, baby. These are all really good. I'm taking the Offering Monument, though. If we can hatch everything on turn 1, suddenly nothing else really matters. Strength Stone, Echo Stone, and a Speed Stone right there. Let's have a look at the Divine Hoard, just in case this should push us in one direction over another. When played, your champion gains +50% max health. Not really relevant to us. Tethys' Scale, or rather 50% chance to apply Spell Weakness 1 when an enemy enters your train. Yeah, we'll probably put a couple spells in this deck, but I don't know if that's going to be huge for us. Ice Stone Casing, obviously. to a random enemy unit, not to all enemy units. But obviously you lose the 3 full cost you would otherwise have to pay. God, it's really good. Unfortunately, none of these upgrades want to go on anything we just picked up. So it's very much just reroll and look for health. That's health. Endless does not work on an offering monument, by the way. It comes back with 1 HP. Because you've changed its stat line, you see. Alright. Let's peel out and go for it. Another unit draft. Thank you. I'm going to need all of those. Because currently I have 2 kind of trumped up spells as banner units in my deck. Which I'm glad to have them, but also they are trumped up spells. I think I do offering monument things in the first cycle here. Just trying to hatch the Bog Chrysalis out of its shell there. Pretty much all of my cards can just be played here on the top line. Ooh. Extract to apply +10. I mean, it's a draw, and it gives us more draws back in the future because of the offering monument not dying. It's not bad. Those train suits are, though. Let's go with the quick consume there. I feel like the flash freeze and... Ooh, gosh, now I need that forgotten trade to go out because I'm going to get more stuff. So we go Echo Break, forgotten trade. Let's titanically propose gratitude here. You incant for +2. So what that's saying is I don't need to worry. That's what that's saying. I'm certain of it. Lodestone Totem goes in the back line. We'll give health to our frontliner and then sap the ever-loving Rimini out of our enemies here. I'll do it. I mean, the deck is working well right now. The problem is, like, because we're planning, I mean, I shouldn't necessarily go to, oh my god, Bound of Geckos is so good here. I shouldn't necessarily go to the last Divinity every single run. Sometimes I'm just possibly not going to be able to find a way to do it. But, especially early on, I would rather die in the last Divinity fight than succeed the Seraphite and end. So, you know, showing off the new mechanics, showing off the new fight, those kinds of things. The kinds of things you want to do at the start of a series. So because of that, I always have to think of what my end game scaling is going to be at every stage. And that's why I'm like, yeah, we're doing okay now, but what about that future though? Crypt Build is actually really good there because most of the time we're going to be casting that with the offering Kinhost Vessel Infused Shell 8. On Hatch, it summons a Kinhost Pupa. The Kinhost Pupa is... Actually, we've got the Hatch keyword here as well. Cool. Once all shell is removed, in fact, it's directly above my head. Once all shell is removed, the unit dies, triggering its Hatch ability. Apply the egg unit's upgrades and stat changes to the summoned unit. If we were to use that as an essence, we would apply 1 Reap to enemy units. There's also a Shard Soul Carver here, Inspire, to gain +2 damage and +2 armor to 3 capacity. But if you use that, it would give +15 as well as... +15 HP as well as +1 capacity and Inspire, the same effect to a unit. Icy Silophyte. It is 10... and action, apply spell weakness 1 to enemy units. Action triggers at the start of the unit's turn. Interesting. That's not awful. That's not awful. It's not a Kinhost vessel, but it's not awful. Would I put anything into that Kinhost vessel that I already have? Offering Monument? Lodestone Totem? We would have to truly be casting wild stuff for that to be a good idea. But I think we will take the egg. It'll go on the same floor as Echorite, and suddenly Echorite is getting double value from etching to get eggs out. I'm probably looking for a Wormkin banner here. Yeah, I think we're going mostly Wormkin. I'm not trying to lean away from Stygian. They're one of my favorite clans. But I think we're going mostly Wormkin because the Offering Totem, Lodestone Totem and the Offering Monument don't really... You don't have to really play Stygian for either of those to be good. They're like a good splash in a lot of different decks. And then other than that, we can try and go into eggs and get our scaling that way. That Shard Soul Carver wouldn't be something bad to put into the egg. Kinhost Vessel... So this would gain 2 damage and 2 armor. It will lose the armor when it hatches, but it keeps the damage. That's a stat change. And it comes out as... Oh, actually, we can show it now as well. Summoned unit, Kinhost Pupa. Armor 20, multi-strike 1. Strike, apply Reap 1 to all enemy units on the floor. And it's 30-10 by base. So Inspire triggers would increase its damage by 4 at that point. Unless, you know, I end up possibly giving it multi-strike. Bulk Chrysalis here is just summoned to summon 2 bulk flying units. No. I'll take the Shard Soul Carver. When a spell with Consume is played, gain a candy on the floor. That is exactly the kind of piece we want here. Thank you. Divine Boons for more money before I go into a concealed cavern. I mean, I don't think there's really any interaction here. A mysterious woman stands before you. You feel a strange pressure emanate from her presence. Oh, good! My entertainment's finally here! How's fighting Seraph the whatever for the rest of eternity treating you? Don't bother answering. I don't really care. Instead, how about you offload some of that cargo you're hauling? In exchange, I'll tickle you with a little mystical energy or something. And we'll see what happens after that, yeah? You know it! Purge a card, gain 10. This is a new event, so I need to go as far down the line of it as possible to understand what else happens. Great! I suppose I should tell you that these crystals are likely gonna kill you, but if they do, I'll just see you in some other cycle, I suppose. Ta-ta! I was kind of thinking that there was gonna be a secondary thing that happened after, but it's just fine. I mean, I like purging cards, but purging cards for 10? Pack shards, that is. Pack shards are really good when they kind of start breaking the curve of enemy strength for you. They won't be doing that here. I think I do go Offering Monument on the top floor still. I'll go there. I'll go there. 50-50. Ooh! And we even get the Kinhost vessel out there, baby. Yeah, it's an etch trigger. Yeah. Drawing through more cards there was significantly better off for us. I mean, look, this could go anywhere. It's not going to have any impacts. So, popped open one of those eggs now. Unfortunately, Lodestone Totem's going to be pretty difficult to get a whole lot of value out of here. Do I crit build you? Just for the damage? Or do I try and get 2 Train Stewards out of the deck? We care about our next cycle. Kind of want to Echo break that backline if possible, but I don't have enough things to cast. One, two. Saving a bunch of HP on our frontliner if we can. Hey, there we go. Now I get to destroy that. Save even more HP. Beautiful. And we get our hatch. So here is our Kinhost Pupa. You can see it's 32 as well as 10 with 20 armor. You're looking good there, bud. You're looking real good. Not the one I wanted to lose. That's okay, though. Feel that 5 damage there. Shard Soul Carver is back, and so is Lodestone Totem. Unfortunately, we can't really do much with either. He's going to throw both of those at the boss, and I mean, they're all going to come up with 1. They don't really threaten me. Guess who'll go on the bottom line. And then basically the biggest hit we can get there. Do I want to try and 50-50 this hit? I think I do, because I still want to get that flash freeze out there. Hey! Got him. So the enemy is currently dying at the same speed as we are. And now they're dying slightly faster. They came in with spikes. How rude. A boss with spikes. Ice and Pyre. Infused, Pyrebound, Attuned. A lot of the time I will be playing on that top floor. Let's take it. Kinhost Carapace, Shard Soul Carver, as well as called Kalia. I don't think I'm going to be taking any of these. Let's take that skip. Do I have to take capacity on the top floor if I want to get any amount of totems up there? Right? Because our base summon is going to be Echo, right? She's going to summon very soon a 2-size egg as well. Obviously, card draw is good for us, but obviously capacity is also quite good for us. The ability to cast all of those is quite good for us with the Offering Monument. Okay, I'm going to have to take at least 1 capacity. It's possible we end up taking 2 if we have the ability to generate energy as well. Stygian unit. Am I really looking for a Stygian unit right now? I don't think I am anymore. I think I'm just looking for upgrades. Endless? No. No, these are all a pretty big whiff for us. What do you got? Divine Temple, Extreme Stone, plus 30 magic power on something like an Ice Empire. Deal 240 damage to the front enemy unit. Seems good to me. That pact is going to be engaged, and we are likely going to be putting the Shardsoul Carver into the Kinhost Vessel. In fact, we're definitely doing that. Unfortunately, it's now 2 capacity as well. Unstable Vortex will allow us to get rid of some of the dead draws in the first cycle, because a lot of the time we're just incanting very heavily through a 0-cost deck. And I'm just going to reroll here. I don't like any of those. Multi-strike is great. We put that on the Kinhost Vessel. And then extra health. We put again on the Offering Monument. Do I now cut 2 cards from the deck as well? Marsh Lord number 2 summons a Kinhost Vessel. Actually, the Kinhost Vessel is still 1 size, but the pupa that comes out of it is going to be 2 size, but I guess everything was... Okay, so this is similar. It's the Bulk Cocoon, the egg that they summon on the 3rd level of the Marsh Lord, that gets much larger. There's also the Repeater, the other line for Echo Right. So we saw previously Etch to give armor to friendly units, the Shellsmith. This is Resolve, return a random consumed spell to hand. It's very good. We have to take Marsh Lord. Much better scaling for us overall. I think I actually... No, wait. I was about to say, I think I actually removed. But I specifically laid out, this is huge value and I need money when I'm here. It's all tucked away in there somewhere. Yeah, this is why it's valuable to try and look at the very first 2 lines, as I keep harping on, and I will continue to do so. That's why it's valuable to look ahead. See if you actually have a plan for taking care of those kinds of things. Unfortunately, Absolvers are going to be in this fight, which means we are likely going to want to try and set up as low as we can, which means we will need things like spells to try and kill units that get past us. So I don't think I can take the money here. I really wish I could. Like, I deeply and desperately wish that I could. Like, I deeply, desperately, darkly love the idea of that. Absolver with a star on applies 4 sap to whatever unit it attacks. Ooh, you're mean. You suck. I don't like you. Alright, Kinhost Vessel. You go down, and then an Offering Monument goes down too. Probably behind you. Echo Right will go in front. We'll draw a card. Not what I was looking to draw. Definitely consume with the Bounding Echoes on the bottom line. Foregone could be cast on the top line, but I think it wants to get cast on the bottom line instead. That Absolver, I think we actually just let go to the top line. It's so much effort to kill it right now. What? I get rid of a couple weights of contrition? That'd be nice, but not essential. Okay, we can deal with that in the next cycle. I'm happy with that. That's absolutely ideal. We get both of the eggs hatched. We now actually have damage. I'm gonna play this sooner rather than later. I don't want to get betrayed by it. We should get rid of that one regardless. And set up a Train Steward here. Let's give more draw there. I'll play the 0 cost. I just want to cycle more. I mean, I can't really play any of these, so there we go. Or rather, I couldn't play anything non-standard there. Okay. The ability to descend would be nice, but we're not very likely to find that at all. Nice. You can see this backliner has had enough Inspires go off to have 52 armor. And they come out by base, right? They come out by base with 20 armor, so that means 32 armor, which means 16 triggers. And it's doing 82 by 3. Oh, right, because the armor from the Inspires when it was an egg would not have carried over. Right, so it's supposed to be a 30 by base, so it's got 52 attack on that, which means it's had 26 triggers go off. If we can make those triggers happen more quickly... That's all I need to say, I believe. Soul Crushing Guilt. Infuse Extract 3. Apply Dazed 3 to a unit and move it to the back. I don't know about that. Soul Siphon. Consume. Fill empty echo spaces with echoes. Apply Ember Drain 1 to friendly units. So I really like that. And one of the big reasons I like that is we have 3 Divine Temples upcoming. If we make this intrinsic, we just get 4 consumed, 4 charged echoes on the first turn. Really good for trying to pop our things early. Unnamed Tome. Apply silence to enemy units. I mean, applying silence to enemy units is good in this mode. Is it better than Drain, though, is the question ultimately. Because this might give us the ability to actually deal with boss damage scaling, because currently we're not dealing with it well. I'll take it. Oh. The mysterious woman appears before you once more, the pressure exerted from her presence as strong as before. Still alive? Wonderful! We're only just beginning. I suppose now would be a good time to introduce myself. I'm Malika, but you already knew that. Well, would you have known that if not for the loop that we've all been stuck in? Well, you would have known that if not for the loop that we've all been stuck in. Ugh, what a drag. The point is, forget the pyre. Well, what we're up to is more fun anyway. Do you continue down this path with Malika? I mean, I feel obliged. Because again, it's a new event, and I want to see as far as I can in the new event. The problem is I'm not strong enough to justify what I'm consistently doing. You won't regret this unless you die, in which case you might regret this. Talk to you in a bit, hopefully. Okay, so there is another stage to the event. What I want to see is if there's like a capstone that's different, you know? Playing spell deals 2 damage on the random. None of those are huge. You gonna make intrinsic for me? You are. Thank you. Soul Siphon's now intrinsic. I don't need to engage in a pact. Extreme Stone again. I mean, look. I like the idea of putting Extreme Stone on another card, but how often are we actually really targeting? I guess Titan's Gratitude is a good hit for it as well. Unless the enemies get Soul Siphon. Soul Siphon. So, Spell Shields. And they're very likely to get Spell Shields because of the whole I got a bunch of Pact Shards situation going on. Alright, let's actually have a look out here first. Gain 7 energy on the first turn of battle. If we get the draw on the first turn, that's really good for us. Unfortunately, we can't even activate Iron Drop Cage right now, so... Let's reroll here. Units get an extra upgrade slot. That could be huge. That could be huge. We want as many upgrades as possible in a Kinhost Vessel. Obviously, more HP into the Offering Totem would be nice as well. Not our highest priority. I don't think I do take the Extreme Stone here. Non-boss enemy units gain multi-strike. That is a lot of damage they are currently intending to do to us. How often am I going to kill the enemies before they get to the top line? I'm going to take this because I feel like I leave myself very much behind the curve if I don't, but I'm scared. I want you to know that I am a big old scaredy crybaby right now about this. We'll see if that big old scared crybaby is going to work out well for us. Do I try and go for a foregone power on the top floor? Or do I try and kill a silent marksman? I feel like I try and kill a silent marksman. Because now Echo Breaks on the bottom floor have 2 candies, or they'll have 2 candies because Echo Breaks are infused, and they'll be able to kill other silent marksmen. Oh, that's annoying. I really wanted that Lodestone Totem. Also not what I wanted to have happen. Yikes, we're going to miss out on the Collector as well. None of this is pogged. We're in heavily anti-pogged territory. Just needed to draw as much as was possible. Probably should have cast that final one on the on a different floor. To be entirely frank with you. It'll go down. Speaking of casting on a different floor. Take another moment to do so there. Ooh, now we don't have space for it. Can you just... Oh my god. Well, at least it's guaranteed now. Finally. Yeah, the extra draw on the top floor doesn't do anything now. Drain on Self-Made Harpy would be nice, but we'd have to get it again next cycle really quickly. We're not getting to a next cycle really quickly, unfortunately. I need as many Inspire triggers on this floor as I can get, and as much Frostbite as I can get on the bottom line. Yeah, you look pretty healthy. Trying to 50-50 that final hit. I figured we weren't getting even close without attempting to 50-50 that final hit there. Dang it. I really, really, really wanted to have a look at what Malika was going to try and do in the next event. Just unfortunately didn't have the scaling options I would have really liked. As it turns out, the Light of the Seraph was not really what we wanted to do. It could have been. It could have been. But we have a lot of banner units in this deck, which is inconsistency heavily. I could have looked for frontliners and tried to run 2 different floors, but running 2 different floors when you intend on using etch triggers on one floor, using spells that consume, and then incant triggers on a different floor, is a really, really rough idea. If instead of getting totems, and both of these are rare totems, like I kind of got baited into killing myself here a little bit. But if we'd gotten different Stygian units, it would be more likely that I might run a second line, especially if we got the Titan Sentry. That comes to mind immediately as a really good option for starting to run a second line. But here I definitely wanted to overstack. And I didn't account enough around the fact that our overstacking was just not particularly good. It just wasn't. Or rather, our ability to overstack was particularly hampered. This deck would have run significantly better without the Lodestone Totem. Just the Offering Monument and the Keen Host Vessel. We use the Offering Monument and the Keen Host Vessel and Echo, right? And then we try and cycle through the entire deck. We don't have Lodestone Totem, and because of that, we don't have another banner unit, because both these totems are banner units, right? By the way, in case you're not familiar with the banner unit, I'll quickly tell you. In your opening hand, you're guaranteed to draw the champion. You're also guaranteed to draw at least one banner unit every turn until you have no banner units left in your deck. Except for, in the second cycle, they're no longer guaranteed. So it's the first cycle through the deck. If you have banner units left in the deck, you will draw at least one each turn. This is so that you don't just get your champion and then every unit you want to play is at the bottom of the deck. It's a very good system, but it does mean you need to try and play around consistency. Now, a lot of the time when I build one floor solutions, I'm playing around one minion. I'm playing around two minions, maybe maximum, right? So I have a lot more consistency in that, right? Before the enemies even get to the top floor, I already have my whole game plan together. Or rather, I'm on my way there, but my minion game plan is already together. When you have 3 different banner units, it gets harder. Especially when one of them is particularly high cost, because that is taking a turn to do nothing for a period of time. Having an additional energy would have been actually really, really fine in this deck, but it would have been draw. 100% it would have been draw. That is the way that we would have scaled a lot faster. We would have had, by this point, so 7 to 9, we would have had 9 turns of having an extra draw. That gets us through the deck so much faster. That's not just 9 extra cards, because the value of a hand with 6 cards in rather than a hand with 5 cards in is more than just 1 card, right? You have the ability to synergize between the different cards you have in hand. You have the ability to use foregone powers and things like that to hit more of the kinds of things that you might otherwise get. Obviously, the Titan's Gratitude, obviously the Ice and Pyre. You're not cannibalizing the entire rest of your hand when you play a foregone power and discard a card that you don't want to discard. It's just really good. A shame. A shame to be sure. I will say, this Harpy, with 7/8 as its attacks, it's very big. It's extremely large. Very big. I don't mean to be one of those people who's like, I lost to this and therefore this is imbalanced. Please, if you have watched any of my past content, hopefully I don't need to make that clarification. But I would like to say that specific boss getting Pact Shard enhanced and getting 3 extra multi-strike as well as 2 additional damage. 2 additional damage isn't 2 additional damage. 3 extra multi-strike is already a bunch of extra damage, right? It's 5/5 base, I think, in Covenant 25. So it goes from 25 damage to 7/8. That's far more than double. Sometimes it spawns with a Sycophant, giving it another +2 on all of its attacks, because it has that much multi-strike. It is rough. I've seen it ruin many a run in this DLC so far, but for the moment, my name's been Rhapsody. The name of the game has been Monster Train Last Divinity. Hopefully you've been enjoying yourselves. There's a playlist in the description down below with all of my content on this game, past, present, and future. And hopefully we'll see you next time.